Long ago, in the magnificent city of Mathura, there reigned a powerful and fearsome king named Kamsa. He was known for his immense strength and his equally immense ego, believing himself to be the most formidable ruler in all the land. His sister, Devaki, was a gentle and kind-hearted princess, loved by everyone in the kingdom. On the day of her wedding to the noble Prince Vasudeva, the entire city celebrated with great joy and splendor. Kamsa, wanting to show his affection, decided to personally drive the happy couple's chariot in a grand procession through the streets of Mathura, a gesture that filled the air with cheers and music. As the chariot made its way through the festive crowds, a sudden and terrifying voice thundered from the heavens, echoing through the sky for all to hear. It was a divine prophecy, an Akashvani, a voice without a body that spoke with chilling clarity. "Oh, foolish Kamsa," it boomed, silencing the celebration in an instant. "The eighth child born to your sister Devaki will be the cause of your destruction. He will bring an end to your cruel reign and restore righteousness to the world." The words hung in the air, a dark cloud over the joyous occasion, planting a seed of deep-seated fear in the heart of the mighty king. The prophecy struck Kamsa like a bolt of lightning, transforming his brotherly affection into pure, unadulterated terror. In a fit of rage and panic, he immediately drew his sword, his mind clouded by the vision of his own demise. He lunged towards Devaki, his own beloved sister, intending to kill her right there and then to prevent the prophecy from ever coming to pass. He reasoned that if Devaki did not live, she could not bear the child destined to be his doom. The festive atmosphere turned to one of horror as the guests watched, frozen in shock at the king's sudden and brutal turn. Vasudeva, ever the noble and quick-thinking prince, threw himself between Kamsa and Devaki, pleading for his new wife's life. He begged the king to show mercy, appealing to his sense of family honor and reminding him of his love for his sister. Vasudeva made a desperate and solemn promise to Kamsa. He would personally hand over every child born to them, one by one, for the king to do with as he pleased. Reluctantly, Kamsa agreed to this grim bargain, his fear temporarily placated by the promise. He spared Devaki's life, but his heart remained cold and suspicious, forever changed by the celestial warning. True to his cruel nature, Kamsa did not trust Vasudeva's word alone. He immediately ordered his guards to seize the couple and throw them into the darkest, most heavily guarded dungeon within his palace. The beautiful wedding garments were replaced with the rough, simple clothes of prisoners, and their new home became a cold stone cell. The joyous celebration of their union had turned into a nightmare of imprisonment and sorrow. Here, under the constant watch of Kamsa's soldiers, Devaki and Vasudeva were to live out their days, their future dictated by the king's paranoia and the dreadful prophecy that haunted their every waking moment. As the years passed, Devaki gave birth to one child after another within the confines of that miserable prison. Each time, the news of a birth would reach Kamsa, and he would storm into the dungeon, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and hatred. Without a moment's hesitation, he would snatch the newborn infant from Devaki's arms. Ignoring the desperate cries and pleas of the heartbroken parents, he would mercilessly kill the child, one by one. 6 innocent lives were extinguished in this brutal manner, each death a fresh wave of grief for Devaki and Vasudeva, deepening the despair within their prison walls. The 7th pregnancy was different. Through divine intervention, the child in Devaki's womb was magically transferred to the womb of Rohini, another wife of Vasudeva, who was living safely in the pastoral village of Gokul. This child would grow up to be Balarama, the powerful and loyal elder brother of Krishna. In the prison, it was announced that Devaki had suffered a miscarriage, a story Kamsa accepted, though his vigilance never wavered. The divine play, the Leela, had begun, subtly working to protect the children of Devaki and Vasudeva from the king's relentless cruelty and setting the stage for what was to come. Soon, Devaki was with child for the 8th time. This was the child of the prophecy, the one Kamsa feared above all else. The atmosphere in the prison grew even more tense and heavy with foreboding. Devaki and Vasudeva prayed ceaselessly to the gods, their hearts filled with a desperate hope that this child, their 8th, might somehow be spared the terrible fate of their previous children. The air itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the arrival of the one who was destined to change the world and bring an end to the tyrannical rule of King Kamsa. On a dark and stormy night, as the 8th month of the Hindu calendar, Shravana, drew to a close, Devaki went into labor. The wind howled outside the prison walls, and heavy rain lashed against the stone, as if nature itself was announcing a momentous event. It was the darkest of nights, a perfect cloak for the divine secret about to unfold. Inside the cell, a brilliant divine light began to emanate from Devaki, filling the grim dungeon with a celestial glow that was both soft and powerful. The oppressive darkness of the prison was banished, replaced by an aura of peace and divinity that calmed the anxious hearts of the imprisoned couple. At the stroke of midnight, the child was born. But this was no ordinary infant. He appeared before them not as a helpless baby, but in his divine form as Lord Vishnu, adorned with 4 arms holding a conch, a discus, a mace, and a lotus flower. He was decorated with splendid jewels and a crown, and his dark skin shone with an otherworldly radiance. Devaki and Vasudeva, overwhelmed with awe and devotion, fell to their knees and prayed to the divine being before them. They understood then that their son was not merely a child, but the Supreme Lord himself, who had come to earth to fulfill a great purpose. The divine child then transformed into a normal, beautiful human baby, his celestial form hidden from mortal eyes. At that very moment, a series of miracles began to happen. The heavy iron chains that had bound Vasudeva and Devaki for so many years magically fell away, clattering silently to the floor. The massive locked doors of their cell swung open on their own, without a sound. A deep, enchanting slumber fell upon all of Kamsa's guards, who slumped over at their posts, completely unaware of the divine birth and the subsequent escape that was about to take place in their midst. A heavenly voice, gentle but clear, instructed Vasudeva on what he must do. "Take this child across the river Yamuna to the village of Gokul," the voice commanded. "There you will find your friend Nanda the chieftain, whose wife Yashoda has just given birth to a baby girl. Exchange your son for her daughter and return to the prison before anyone awakens." Understanding the divine plan, Vasudeva carefully picked up his newborn son, placed him in a simple wicker basket, and prepared to embark on the perilous journey, his heart filled with both fear and a newfound, unshakable faith. Vasudeva placed the basket containing the divine infant on his head and stepped out of the prison, moving through the sleeping palace like a silent shadow. The storm outside was raging with incredible fury. The winds howled like demons, and the rain fell in blinding sheets, turning the path into a muddy river. Yet, Vasudeva pressed on, his determination fueled by his mission. He reached the banks of the mighty river Yamuna, which was churning and swollen, its dark waters crashing violently against the shore. The river, usually a source of life, now appeared as an insurmountable and deadly obstacle, threatening to swallow him whole. As Vasudeva hesitated at the water's edge, wondering how he could possibly cross, another miracle occurred. The giant serpent, Shesha Naga, the divine servant of Lord Vishnu, rose silently from the depths of the river. Spreading his massive hoods, he formed a protective canopy over Vasudeva and the precious child in the basket, shielding them completely from the torrential rain. The fearsome river, upon seeing its master, Lord Krishna, magically parted, creating a safe and dry path for Vasudeva to walk through. It was a truly breathtaking sight, a testament to the divine power protecting the infant savior. Protected by the great serpent, Vasudeva walked across the riverbed, his feet steady on the dry ground, and reached the village of Gokul on the other side. Just as the heavenly voice had told him, he found the entire household of the village chief, Nanda, in a deep sleep. He quietly entered the room where Yashoda lay sleeping next to her newborn daughter. With a heavy heart but a firm resolve, he gently placed his son Krishna by her side and picked up the baby girl. He knew this exchange was crucial for the survival of his son and for the future of the world. Carrying the baby girl, Vasudeva made the return journey. The river once again parted for him, and Sheshanaga continued to provide shelter until he was safely across. He re-entered the prison, the doors closing silently behind him, and the chains reappearing on his limbs as if they had never been broken. When the baby girl cried, the guards finally awoke and rushed to inform Kamsa of the birth of the 8th child. The stage was set for the next chapter of the divine drama, with Krishna now safe in Gokul, a symbol of hope and the promise of a new dawn.